بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله اللهم أعنا على قيام ليلة القدر اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. Tonight's dua inshallah is from Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 250, the dua of Prophet Dawood alayhi salam as a young man, as he is placed with a small group of believers in an incredibly difficult trial, and that is meeting the tyrant Jalut and Goliath and their forces which far outnumber them. And Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Walamma barazoo lijalootawajunoodihi qaloo rabbana afrigh AAalayna sabranwathabbit aqdamana wansurnaAAala alqawmi alkafireen. That when they faced Goliath and his forces, they turned to dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking for three things. They said first, afrigh AAlayna sabran. And afrigh in the Arabic language means to pour with abundance, to cover the entire thing. Ay صب علينا الصبر صبا, meaning shower us with a sabr, with patience and steadfastness. So it's important that we make this dua often in these days, because now, as Sheikh Mohamed mentioned earlier, with fatigue setting in, with the month, subhanAllah, drawing to its end, it takes a lot of patience and steadfastness and tawfiq to stay standing till the end. And when people do a job in this world, right, you have to stay until payday, right, until the very end. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. We want Allah to grant us the patience to stay worshipping until the end of Ramadan and to continue after Ramadan as well. And sabr is not only sabr when patience in face of calamity, but also patience in avoiding what is haram and patience in doing what is obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so asking for sabr is asking for all of these flavors and types. رَبَّنَا أَفْرِغْ عَلَيْنَا صَبْرًا وَثَبِّتْ أَقْدَامَنَا. They asked Allah for steadfastness of their feet. And this issue of thabat becomes a great concern at the end of Ramadan. I remember some brothers, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them and us. On the night of the 27th, at a masjid in another city, the sheikh had finished the recitation of the Quran. And some brothers started to embrace one another. And they said, see you next year. See you next year. For subhanAllah, to ask Allah for thabat is to ask Allah for more than this. That we're not here for Ramadan and then to shut down for 11 months. We're not here to rekindle our relationship with the Quran and then may Allah protect us to forget it until next Ramadan. To ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for thabat is to ask for steadfastness on what we did. That Allah Azza wa Jal has given us tawfiq to break bad habits, to do good things, to be timely in salah. We're doing this for the 1st of Shawwal and the 2nd of Shawwal and the rest of our lives, to be transformed people. Not to turn on a switch and then once Ramadan is gone to turn it off. So in fact, the Prophet ﷺ, despite his great stature, used to be very concerned with this in dua. And from the dua that he used to make very often is Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulubi thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Oh one who turns the hearts, make my heart firm upon your deen. So this issue of thabat is an issue that occupies the believer here, especially as we approach the end of Ramadan. So after asking for sabr and asking for thabat, they finally said, wansurnaAAala alqawmi alkafireen, that to give us help and victory against those who reject. And in their context, they were tested with this great confrontation of the tyrant and his people. But in our context also, us and our families on the path towards Allah are confronted with a lot of challenges. Here is a group of people trying to take our children into the oceans of materialism, and another person trying to take them away from values into quick relationships and boys and girlfriends, and another people calling towards substances, and another people calling away from salah, another people calling away from religion. All these challenges that are pulling you away from the path. And so in this is gathered in this dua, give us victory and help and support against all of those who reject, meaning those that pull away from the path of Iman. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Ali Imran, إِن يَنصُرْكُمُ اللَّهُ فَلَا غَالِبَ لَكُمْ وَإِن يَخْذُلْكُمْ فَمَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَنْصُرُكُم مِّن بَعْدِهِ وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. That if Allah supports you and helps you, there is none that can overcome you. And if He forsakes you, then who is it that will support you after Him? And in Allah, that the believers place their full trust and tawakkul. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us as-sabr, and to grant us al-thabat, to grant us His help and His nasr. Allahumma ameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.